Alright, this video today is probably going to be more so for the newer people in this community. However, from time to time, we do come across someone that has been in the community a little while and maybe they just missed this information. For those of y'all that do recognize this photograph, y'all know the story behind it. As you can see, each individual has their names written out across here: Joshua Martin, Daryl Wilson, and Cordarius Lawrence. Now, it has been argued in this community that this is Kenneka's brother. That is incorrect information, and it's been proven over and over, time and time again. But for the sake of this video, like I said, I'm going to show the information. Every time I do a remake of a video, I try to show it a different way, so that way maybe the message will get across a little bit better. But before we get too far into this information that I want to show y'all, let me take you somewhere else real quick. Alright, I googled this information up right now when I was making this video, and I went and looked what is the percentage of the amount of people in the population of the United States whose last name is Martin. And to my surprise, the last name Martin is actually ranked number 13th in the United States for last names. So, it is not uncommon for other people in Chicago to have the last name Martin and not be related to Kenneka whatsoever. But just for information purposes, I went a little bit further. To give you an idea, Jones is ranked number 5 in popularity, and Smith is the number 1 last name for popularity. Now, just for kicks, I went ahead and I took it one step further. Martin is ranked number 13th in the United States. Wilson, to my surprise, is ranked number 10. So again, you can't just go by somebody's last name and point a finger and say, oh, they're related to them. Doesn't work like that. Now, I know that might sound very elementary to some folks, but that is what happens here in this community. Now, in this community, they're given a few different versions of this false narrative. Basically, there's 2 different victims of a homicide that people in this community has at one time or another tried to intertwine into Kenneka's family. They're both simply just not related, but I'm going to cover it with you. The first one here, it says, a teenage boy who was shot to death Friday morning in the West Side Austin neighborhood has been identified as Corey Martin, C-O-R-E-Y, Martin. The 17-year-old was walking on the street in the 600 block of North Long at 8:41 in the morning when someone approached him showing a gun and started shooting, according to Chicago police and the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. Martin was shot multiple times and ran behind a nearby property where he collapsed, authorities said. He lived over on the 700 block of North Long, so he was only a block away from home. He was found there and pronounced deceased at 9:55 a.m. And that's according to Chicago Sun-Times. This is Corey Martin. So, and that took place on December 16th of 2016. So if you see this photograph being passed around in this community and it's stating that he's related to Kenneka, just know that he is not. And if I've done it before, it's not that hard. You can do it too if you really want to. I'm not going to take the time to do it in this video to make it a drawn out video, but I've actually researched his family's information and found out who his mother and his sister were. So again, he's not related to them. The other victim is a Corey Williams, and this took place in 2014, the murder of Corey Williams. The three men that have been charged for the fatal shooting were the three guys that I showed you already. The shooting took place February the 6th of 2014. Williams was 29 years old. A single gunshot wound to the chest. Okay, let's see. And this is Corey Williams. Now I have two articles that I had printed out. This one is from June of 2015, and the information in this article is the same information from this other article, because this just was printed again for whatever reason. So we're going to go with this larger one. It says the three men have been charged with the murder for the fatal shooting of a man last year in the Auburn Grissom neighborhood on the south side. You got Lawrence, Wilson, and Martin. Martin is 24, Wilson is 21, and Lawrence is 24. Now, at the time of this printing of this article, they were all being charged with first-degree murder. And they had yet to gone to court. Okay? Now, I was not able to find out what happened when they went to court, what took place in the actual court hearing itself. But I will say this. Scroll too far, sorry. Here it is. As of that time, they were still waiting to go to have a bond hearing. Okay? Since then, obviously, they've gone to, well, I can't say obviously, because there's guys sitting in prison over 10 years that haven't even gone to court, or county, should I say. But since then, these three gentlemen have gone to court, and the outcome of it, let me share that with you. This is the Lawrence guy. This is what he looks like now. His custody date was May of 2015, and he was sentenced to 100 years. Murder, intent to kill, or injure. Now, like I said, I don't have a FOIA request or anything, and I don't know why it's being listed twice with the same case number. This is from a previous charge here. But this guy was given 100 years. His expected parole is 2115, and discharge is 2118, if he makes it that far. Now, I don't know if they found out different details in the court hearing, but the next one here, Daryl Wilson, who's still incarcerated as well, he's expected to be getting out anytime within the next year or so. He was charged with unlawful vehicle invasion and was given 15 years, as well as aggravated unlawful use of a weapon with 3 years. Okay? Now, I know that only adds up to 18 years. So, whoops, there's about a year or two kind of offset there, and I don't know why. But it is what it is. So, obviously, he did not get charged with the murder. Whatever was going on, the details of the case, he got unlawful vehicle invasion. So I thought, well, maybe this is a different time frame, whatever. Well, until I looked up the Martin. And yes, that is him. He did get darker, but that is still his eyes and his lips. I did a comparison all night. He was charged with unlawful vehicle invasion as well and got 15 years. But he also got aggravated fleeing and got 6 years as well. But his parole and discharge is the same as Wilson's over here. Neither one of them was charged with the murder. Now, going back to saying, oh, I mean, because if you don't know by now, Kenneka has one brother. His name is Kenneth Jenkins, just like his father. Kenneka's last name is not Martin. Kenneka's last name is Jenkins. She used the last name Martin as a backup profile on social media, just like little Kenny did. But, again, for the sake of argument, now, when Kenneka died, little Kenny was in juvenile hall. Now, the one murder took place in December of 2016. And he was sentenced to juvenile hall for a year. And in September, on the 7th or 8th, Kenneka had posted up about Kenny almost coming home. He was, like I said, given 12 months. We don't have access to juvenile records, but I pulled up, these are some of his adult records, to show proof of his real government name. This was in December of 2018 is when I took this screenshot, by the way. And he was 18 years old at the time. But in September, if he only had like less than a month to go to be released from juvenile hall, that means when the one case took place of Corey Martin, little Kenny was already in juvie hall. So how could he commit a murder out on the streets? And I don't think they would only give him a year in juvie hall for that. Just my belief. The other one was February of 2014. Kenny would have been, I don't know, 13, 12, 13, fixing to turn 13 years old. Yes, I know it's possible, but hey, that would mean that he was somehow covered it up and put the blame on these other three guys. Not happening. It didn't happen. That's the story behind the picture with the three guys. They're not related to anybody with this case, certainly not Kenneka and her family.